Hi, this is Kyle Gullings from Tyler, Texas. I am in week 2 now of the Coursera course Music Production, and week 2 covers the DAW. Today I'm going to be creating a screen capture video talk on how to record audio using my very own DAW. I use Audacity, Audacity 2.1.0 to be specific, and we're going to be looking through the steps for how to record audio correctly into that program. And as you can see here, I've got a project up already that I've recorded some audio into, and I'll sort of talk you through the steps I took to make that happen. First, I was supposed to check the settings, that is the sample rate, the bit depth, and the input-output setup. With Audacity, there's a handy feature in the bottom left that discusses the sample rate of the entire project. Here it's the CD standard 41.1 kilohertz, and so I just left it at that. I know that our instructor has suggested we try the 48 kilohertz, but I've left it at 44.1. And to adjust the bit depth, we have to go into the Audacity Preferences section. Here we can see as we scroll through that under Quality, we have a sample rate of 44.1, as I mentioned, and also the bit rate, in this case 24-bit. That's going to be the type of bit rate that is used when you create any new audio track that's being recorded. You can actually go into each track and change its sample format, 16, 24, 32-bit, and its rate, CD quality or 48K, and but to set the defaults, it's under that Preferences section. Also under Audacity Preferences, we can set up the interface. Under Devices, we see that Core Audio is the host for a Mac, and the device we're using for playback is my built-in computer's output, so I can hear this coming through my headphones, but the device I'm using for input for recording is my M-Audio Fast Track Pro, hooked up through a USB. I'm recording in mono, that is using one microphone at a time into a mono track, and that's how I set this up in terms of the settings. Next, I needed to create the necessary types of tracks and whether they were mono or stereo to record into. One funny feature about Audacity is if you go to the beginning of a track and you just hit record, it does this. You can see on the bottom here it creates a brand new track. And so I did find and that surprised me. What I wanted to do was create a track, name it, and then set its parameters and record in it, but Audacity by default just records directly into a brand new track of the default settings that you set up. And there is a way to record into an existing track, and that is to highlight the point where you want to start, and instead of pushing R to record, you can push Shift R, and it begins recording within that same track. But that's a bit of a special feature. It normally creates a track right from the beginning of a new track every time you try to record. So I didn't actually need to create a track at the beginning. Each time when I was done recording a new track, I went ahead and gave it a name. And today I'm recording If I Had a Hammer by Lee Hayes and Pete Seeger, just the first verse, and I'm using my ukulele and my voice. And so my first track I laid down just the ukulele part, and I named it Uke 1, and then the vocals first take was Vocals 1. The naming process is quite simple. Just click on Name and type a name in. As far as I can tell, there is no color coding available in Audacity, so it's not very fancy like that, like some other DAWs are. Next, I needed to set levels, and that's what I did in these first track takes, Uke 1 and Vocals 1. I used that to set my levels for future takes. They were a little bit quiet at first, and so I used that to turn up the gain on my ukulele playing and turn it down a little bit on my vocals since that was louder. There is no record enable that I could find on Audacity because, as I said, when you hit record, it creates a brand new track to record from, so there's no need to enable a track to be recorded. Lastly, I tried to set up a click track and found out that my version of Audacity, which was formerly 1.9, didn't have a plugin for a click track. And so after a little bit of Google searching, I found this page, which is the latest version of Audacity for Mac. That's 2.1.0. Downloaded that and installed that one over top of the previous install. And now if I go to generate at the top here, I've got more than the first 5 that I used to have. Now I've got a couple of extra plugins here. And one of those is I can generate a click track. I click on that and it asks me to set the tempo, to set the number of beats per measure, the number of measures I want it to click for, the sound that I want to happen when it does click up and down, the strong and weak clicks. And I hit OK, and I generated this track here that I just called click. And after I've got my level set from the first take, it was really handy to have not only the level set, but also the click track was set for me, so I could have a tempo. I've never recorded with the click track before, so this was really nice that I was able to record up against that. It didn't entirely work, partially because I'm not the most accurate ukulele player, and partially because my latency seemed to be off a little bit. I had to adjust the track left or right a little bit to make it work. I then had my next take with the ukulele was actually pretty bad, so I called that one Uke 2 Bad Sync. It was not synced up with the click track at all, and so and it wasn't played very well, so I just totally redid that one, and I ended up with what I call Uke 3, which is the audio that I'm looking for, and Vocals 2, which is the audio for the vocals that I'm looking for. I did have to bump the Vocals 2 back just a little bit, which is why you can see a break between these two audio regions, so that they would line up correctly. The latency wasn't exactly the same between the two recordings. Now you can see that those bottom 2 tracks without the click are soloed, so when I hit play, that's all that should play for us. So let's give that a listen. Now I just realized you may not be able to hear that because it's coming out through my headphones and not through the computer speakers, but we'll see when I get to the video editing process. And then lastly, as I said, I just hit the record button or tap R on the keyboard to record. And that's how I set up a recording of audio in Audacity 2.1.0. This is an interesting experiment for me to try to record this. This is the first time I've recorded something using my interface into my office computer here. It worked pretty well, although as you can see I had to do some major workarounds. I had to learn a lot of the details I didn't know about Audacity, the sample rate and the bit depth, how to set those, the recording process in general, hitting R or Shift R to record on an existing track. And I had to go download a new version of Audacity so that I could have a click track. I was very surprised to see that the click track is a recent addition to this DAW, but I'm happy to have it, and I'll be using it from here on out. Please let me know how I could have made this presentation a little better for you, and thanks so much for taking your time.